A man is behind bars today accused of beating a young child while his mother was at work. What we know so far coming up.
If you're driving by Jacobson Park today, don't be alarmed by all the commotion. We'll tell you how public safety officials are preparing for disaster through exercises and drills.
It may be in the 80s, but officials say the flu is here. How you can protect you and your family from the virus coming up.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. A Boyle County man arrested in Lexington is accused of abusing a 5-year-old child.
Police say Bradley Moore was left in charge of the child while the child's mother went to work overnight. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner has more details about this disturbing case in our top story at noon.
Police say a man was babysitting a child while his mother was at work, but they say the mom came home to find her child covered in bruises and scratches and home alone. A frightening scene for the Lexington mother. Now Bradley Moore, a 30-year-old Danville man, is behind bars in Fayette County facing felony charges. According to the jail, Moore drove up here and turned himself in yesterday after he noticed a warrant was put out for his arrest. They say he claimed to know nothing about what happened to the child. The warrant says Moore was babysitting the 5-year-old on September 2nd when he punched the child, slapped the child, and scratched the child. According to the warrant, Mom came home after work and Moore had already left. It says her child had bruising and swelling on its face, a large knot on the back of its head, scratches on its neck and legs, as well as bruising. Moore will face a judge this afternoon for the criminal abuse charges. He declined an interview at the jail in Lexington. Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
And Moore is expected to be in court at 1 o'clock today.
The Laurel County Sheriff's Department is now asking for your help finding the man who they suspect in a brutal beating case. The victim told police that her baby's father, David Stewart, attacked her. Her family says she was beaten with a baseball bat so badly on Friday that it knocked her teeth out. Anyone with information on Stewart's whereabouts is asked to call the Laurel County Sheriff's Office. Whitley County deputies have arrested a wanted man after he and 2 others were found passed out in an SUV in their underwear. Deputies say David Randall was wanted on several charges, including fleeing and evading and wanton endangerment. Chelsea Cornett and Daniel Melton were also arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and public intoxication. Melton was additionally charged with resisting arrest.
It's always best to be prepared for an emergency before one happens, and today Lexington Emergency Management is running a disaster exercise at Jacobson Park to simulate a hazmat situation. Let's go out to WKYT's Lauren Miner, who's there live with more on what's happening over there today. Lauren?
Good afternoon, Bill. Well, things on this side of the park are actually starting to wrap up. Now, as you can still see behind me, police, fire, and EMT are all on scene, and it's all part of a disaster drill. More than 100 Lexington public safety officials are participating in this exercise today. The disaster drill is simulating a chemical spill in Madison County at the Bluegrass Army Depot. Victims who were exposed to that spill are being taken here to Jacobson Park to be decontaminated. In the decon area, victims are being escorted off buses and then taken to several tents to get cleaned so they can be transported to the hospital. This exercise is part of a 10-county chemical stockpile emergency preparedness program, also known as the CSEPP. This exercise gives agencies the chance to work together and test various response actions that would be used if this was an actual emergency.
Having a plan is essential when something of this magnitude takes place, and essentially we've got a plan on paper that works great, but you actually have to get out and put the rubber to the road and walk through it.
Now, as I said, they're actually starting to break down the tents now, and fire trucks and EMT are starting to pull out, but this is close to the public today until they are officially out of the park, which should be around 2:30. Reporting live in Lexington, Lauren Miner, WKYT.
Lauren, thank you. And Lexington Fire, along with other public safety officials, take part in drills like this annually. Well, are you wondering how long these summertime high temperatures close to 90 degrees are going to be sticking around?
WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center now with an early look at the forecast and the answer to that. Micah.
The answer is the summertime temperatures will stick around the next 3 days. It's not going to budge that much. The reason being, and I've been talking about this since Monday, this is the reason. Huge dome of higher pressure. What happens here is it just puts out a dome across wherever it is located, and that's going to include the state of Kentucky. But if you look at the arrows at the top of the screen and then back toward, say, the eastern seaboard, that's where the weather goes. It doesn't go through high pressure systems. It goes around them, especially if they're strong like we have right now. So the flow around that's what you call the ring of fire. And it keeps everything dry inside, but outside of that dome, that's where you get the rain. And we are absolutely in the dome the past few days, and we'll have that off into your Friday too, and maybe even off into your weekend as that front tries to pass on through. This is the result. Yeah, bright blue skies. Temperatures are beautiful temperatures down south. The reason being you have fog issues. I did have some fog issues down in far southern Kentucky, and that's why you're at 70 in Middlesboro. But virtually everybody else sitting there in the low to mid 80s at this moment. We'll finish off in the mid to upper 80s once it's all said and done. So it looks good today, and it's going to look good the next few days. But what about your weekend forecast when that front rolls on through? Any rain? Any chance? I'm going to have that coming up.
All right, Micah, thank you. Barberville police have issued a warning about dressing as a clown. They posted the warning on Facebook saying, quote, dressing as a clown and driving, walking, or standing in a public area can create a dangerous situation for you and others. The warning comes after recent sightings of clowns both in Kentucky and across the country. The president of the Kentucky Coal Association is resigning. Bill Bissett will step down at the end of October to lead the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce in West Virginia. Bissett's first day on the job as president and CEO will be November 1st.
He's been a strong advocate for coal over the years, certainly. Well, graduation rates at Eastern Kentucky University are climbing. In the past 7 years, the four-year graduation rate has nearly doubled. Of the freshmen who entered EKU in 2012, almost 30% graduated this year. In 2006, the four-year graduation rate was only about 16%. The university is attributing the improvement to several factors, including additional financial resources for students, improved awareness of students with academic challenges, and degree completion initiatives that they have underway there on campus. So
it's working.
Yeah, good news for the Colonels there. Well, it might feel like summer outside, but flu season is creeping up, and it may be starting early this year.
And now's the time to start thinking about getting that flu shot, and starting today you can. Michelle Chamberlain has details.
Health officials say the flu is hitting Kentucky early this year, and because of that, the health department is offering flu shots earlier than originally planned.
Good morning. How are you?
You can get a jump start in protecting yourself from the flu this year starting today. Officials say there have been 10 confirmed flu cases in the state and one right here in Fayette County. The health department says the flu typically doesn't show up till October or November, with peak season being in late January.
When you're outside and the temperature's in the 80-degree area, you're not thinking about the flu. The flu is generally something you think of when snow is falling or the leaves are turning brown and orange. It's definitely early for the flu. It's not unheard of. It has happened before where we've had them in September. But having one confirmed case, it definitely is unusual and it sticks out.
You can get a flu shot starting today at the Lexington-Fayette County Health Department on Newtown Pike. The vaccine will be available this week, Monday through Thursday from 9 to 3. No appointment is necessary and the cost is $30. Now, officials encourage the vaccine for anyone 6 months and older, especially pregnant women, kids, the elderly, and their caretakers. The health department also says there will be a free flu shot event on October 20th from 4 to 7 o'clock. Now, that'll take place at the Consolidated Baptist Church in Lexington and also at Southland Christian Church's Richmond Road campus. In Lexington, Michelle Chamberlain, WKYT.
All right, Michelle, better safe than sorry, certainly.
Yes, absolutely.
And the health department, by the way, adds that the flu stayed around late last year, with cases being seen as late as May, and it gave us a very brief break from the virus.
For more information on how to protect yourself and your family from the flu this year, go to our website, WKYT.com. Well, are you already excited for basketball season? Of course.
Well, of course, around Kentucky, well, UK Athletics has announced that Big Blue Madness tickets will become available next Friday at 10 p.m. Those tickets, which are free, can be picked up at either the Memorial Coliseum ticket windows or online from Ticketmaster. But Big Blue Madness will be taking place. That comes up on October 14th at Rupp Arena, and it will air live on the SEC network. Fans can start camping out a week from today, and we know they will. We have more information, including some changes to this year's ticket handout, and that's available for you at WKYT.com. It won't be long now.
The invitation is out there. They'll show up, you know.
There's the cat. All right, keep it here on WKYT. Tensions are high in Charlotte, North Carolina after overnight protests that left about a dozen police officers injured. An update from there coming up on WKYT News at noon, Kentucky's #1 midday news.
Welcome back. We're glad you're with us today. The city of Charlotte, North Carolina is on edge after a night of protests that left about a dozen police officers injured.
The unrest grew after the fatal shooting of a man on Tuesday afternoon. Don Champion has the latest.
We're hoping for the best and preparing for the worst.
Police in Charlotte, North Carolina say they are ready for more protests after a night of violence following the fatal police shooting of Keith Lamont Scott. 16 officers were hurt as demonstrators threw rocks and bottles. Officers in riot gear fired tear gas to break up the crowds. Several police cruisers were damaged.
When that behavior becomes violent, aggressive, and destructive, we have to act as we did.
Police say Scott was spotted during a search for a suspect wanted for an outstanding warrant. They say he got out of his car carrying a handgun and ignored repeated commands to drop it.
He stepped out, posing a threat to the officers, and Officer Brentley Vinson subsequently fired his weapon.
Scott's family says he was unarmed and was reading a book when police approached him.
They jumped out their truck. They said, hands up. He got a gun, he got a gun. Pow, 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 pow. That's it. He had no gun.
But police say a handgun was recovered from the scene.
We did not find a book.
Charlotte police say their investigation will be transparent and fair. Officer Brentley Vinson has been placed on administrative leave pending the findings of the investigation. Don Champion, CBS News, Charlotte.
And community leaders in Charlotte are calling on African Americans to boycott the city. A rally is planned for later this evening there.
We have an important recall to tell you about this afternoon. Evenflow is recalling nearly 30,000 booster seats. It affects the Evolve 3-in-1 seats. Evenflow says children can loosen harnesses without an adult knowing. So far, the company says it hasn't received any reports of injuries.
Well, do you have an evergreen tree that you need to have removed from your property?
You might be in luck. Lexington is looking for Christmas trees. The city needs 3 live trees to place in downtown parks to be decorated for the holidays. In return, the city and Kentucky Utilities will remove the tree for free. They're looking for trees 40 to 50 feet tall, 20 to 25 feet wide, either a Norway spruce, Colorado spruce, or a Douglas fir. You can call LexCall at 311 if you want to donate your tree.
All right, and that would be a special to be part of, have your tree there. Well, a 20-year-old from Frankfort is in the hospital this afternoon with serious head trauma after a fight in Bowling Green.
Victor Puente will tell us how his friends are trying to help him when our midday news continues at 12:30.
And it's a pretty easy forecast next 3 days. It's going to be warm, it's going to be sunny and staying dry. However, you get up towards your weekend, and that's when we start to see a front move through. Are we looking at any rain for these events? I'm going to have that coming up next.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
It's a beautiful rest of the day. We have no problems whatsoever, so it's really not focusing in on today. The key is to the forecast is really off towards your weekend, because weekend we may have at least the slightest chance of rain. I'm not putting in a great chance, but it's there. All right, let's talk about what's going on. So we go throughout your Thursday, first day of fall. Look at these temperatures for your first day of fall. Upper 80s to around 90 degrees. On Thursday, Apple Festival down in Liberty, there in Casey County, is always a packed event, always a big fun event. No rain chances for you guys. I will tell you this, though, it's a difference of feel here and there as we travel through the Apple Festival there on Thursday, because Thursday it's right around 90 degrees. Friday we're roughly 90 degrees there too. But then on Saturday we'll be in the mid 80s because of the fact clouds will move overhead as that system gets a little bit closer, but still no rain chance, okay? So that's really what we're going to be focusing in on. You got the Apple Festival kicking off on Thursday. That's tomorrow. More events going on. The Burgoo Festival happening in Lawrenceburg. Nice air for the Burgoo Festival in Anderson County, just to the west of us here in Lexington. So some pretty nice conditions for all these festivals going on. Sorghum Festival, that's kicking off on Friday, off into your weekend. That's in West Liberty. And these are conditions you're going to be dealing with. Mid-80s Saturday and also upper 70s to right around 80 degrees on Sunday. I did say there is a chance of rain, but it is the slightest chance. You can obviously, there's not a good chance. If there's a good chance of rain, we always put the icon on there for the chance of rain, but it's only 10% chance. That's it. I'm just saying when a front rolls through, it is very, very hard not to push out at least a sprinkle, maybe even some drizzle. So that's just something to keep in mind. It is not going to rain you out, I promise you that. So keep all your event plans, keep going. Every event has the green light, and every Friday night football game
That's
has the
good.
green light too.
Green light, all right.
Yeah.
You just
That's
needed
good.
something to say besides sunshine, didn't you?
Throw on these festivals, man. That's what you guys like. There you go.
We appreciate it, Micah. Thank you as always. And we hope you'll keep it right here. A former Wildcat could be in line for a big bump.
And the Gamecocks coach knows all about football in the Commonwealth. Dave Baker has sports next.
And as we head to break this afternoon, the major market indicators are up at midday.
I first met Will Muschamp in 1999 when for one season he was the defensive backs coach for Roy Kidd at EKU. Since then, he's been to Commonwealth Stadium plenty of times, but Saturday he returns for the first time as the head coach at South Carolina. The Gamecocks are coming off a victory over East Carolina in Columbia, but they're playing on the road for the third time in 4 weeks. Last time out on the road, South Carolina lost to Mississippi State 27-14.
Well, we need to play better than we did last time. That's the bottom line, and that was kind of my message for our guys is you know, we talk in terms of every time we have a team meeting, we talk about winning the East, and this is an Eastern Division opponent, somebody we're going to be playing every single year. We need to play well. And the last time we played on the road, we didn't represent South Carolina very well, in my opinion, as far as our effort was concerned.
At this time yesterday, we were just getting the details of the Kentucky High School Athletic Association ruling that gave Lafayette a 1-0 football win over Scott County. With 11:04 left in the third quarter Friday night, Scott County leading 25-20. Play was stopped, and the Generals wanted to continue, and Scott County said completing the game that night was not an option. Now, also, the two schools could not agree on finishing the game on Saturday. KHSA says Scott County violated the contract by not continuing the game, hence the forfeit.
We wanted to play and finish the game because that's where the game's supposed to be settled at the end of the horn in the fourth quarter. So very upset about that. The players were, and I was also, but you know, we moved forward. The players wanted to know what was the outcome, and the last couple of days they've been asking about that. So now they don't, they know it, and now we move on. I think if there was a three-way tie, that this could come into play and affect that. Because they go by wins and losses when you have a tie.
And Florida has reportedly extended an offer to Mississippi State's Scott Strickland to become the school's next athletics director. Strickland, who was a former assistant AD here at UK under Mitch Barnhart and whose mom grew up in Paintsville, would replace Jeremy Foley, who is retiring. Strickland is said to have turned down Florida initially, but the school came back with a second offer in the last few days. The deal, a source said, was for at least $1 million a year, but could be upwards of $1.4 million. Strickland made about $500,000 last season at Mississippi State. Tonight on the Big Blue Insider with Dick Gabriel, a preview of the South Carolina Gamecocks and T.J. Walker of Cats Illustrated. That's at 6 on 630 WLAP. The very latest from Wildcat practice and more coming up. But for now, guys, that's a look at sports on this Wednesday.
Okay, fun time of the year. Thank you, Buzz.
And there's more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
I'm outside of UK's Chandler Hospital, where a 20-year-old from Frankfurt is recovering from serious head trauma after being injured in a fight in Bowling Green. Coming up at 12:30, we'll tell you how his friends are trying to help.
Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $40 million, and Friday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $20 million.